What's up, everybody? Does anyone know what the double XP thing is for this this week? It doesn't look like it's Gambit. It's been Crucible like 3 weeks in a row. Okay, we're tweeted out. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, so someone, I think it was Paper. Paper sent me there's a video out that is defending Eramis. And we're gonna be watching it on this stream, but I thought it would be fun to go ahead and go through it, and then go through if you guys have any anything you want to show me about Eramis. Look, some people like Eramis and think she can be redeemed. Some people think she isn't that bad. I want it all, okay? If you have good memes about Eramis, send them my way. If you remember a Reddit thread from 2 months ago that was talking about how great Eramis is or how bad she is, send it my way. I want the Eramis content. Okay? No double XP as far as I can see, bruh. It's a fucking scam! I need to get Gambit out of the way, man. Maybe I'll just start fucking working on it. I don't really wanna, but maybe I'll just start working on it. Fuck, I don't know. Because I don't have much, can't do trials today. I don't have much else I can actually work on right now. Oh, I can try to get to Adept. What's up, everybody? So we're gonna watch this video. I don't know if it's allowed to ask here. Yeah, of course, you can literally ask anything. What do you think about the Media Storm lawsuits about Bungie? The Christopher Barrett stuff? I think that is like, you know what I mean? That's we have our internal reporting. We have what all of the let's say alleged victims, but I tend to side with victims, especially when there are so many of them. What they have said publicly, and then you have, you know, a guy and his team of lawyers, and then you have a multi-billion-dollar company, and at that point, it's nothing I say means anything. You know what I mean? Like, this is so far above us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we say. I think it's on us to support the victims in any way we can, if they want it, if they want our support or our thoughts or whatever. And then at the end of the day, this is going to be decided in a civil court. And nothing I say will matter or change anything about it. So that's where we are. What's up? I finished my title and card last night. I'm not amused by the lawsuit, just trying to get revenge. Yeah, once again, like, it's, you know, there are many reasons that you would do something like that. And nothing I say is going to be novel or, you know, it's just, it really doesn't matter what we think at the end of the day. Alrighty, so, oh my God. He uploaded another one. All right, this is Hallowed Lore. Why Eramis is still redeemable in Revenants. And I believe this is this person's first video. I don't know how Paper found this video. But we're gonna watch it. We're gonna, you know, and as I think I mentioned this yesterday, or I just mentioned this, I don't remember. This is this person's first video, so I'm gonna actually go ahead and drop it. So please go and don't hate. No hate, please no hate. Please just go show this individual love. I'm not here. I am not here to bully anyone, and I do not encourage that, and I do not wish that upon anyone. I think anyone trying to get into content creation is a very good thing, and I think it's a great creative outlet. And I think it's, you know, it's cool that someone took the time to make this video. That being said, I fucking hate Eramis. And so I'm very interested in the points that this individual is going to raise. And I'm ready to dismantle them. But that is completely irrespective of the quality of this video. I'm glad they took the time to make it, which is awesome. And I love seeing that. How is Eramis bad? Bro, you couldn't even fucking take the time to spell her name correctly, man. Are you serious? She has emotions that guide her motions. To that extent, name a good Vex villain. Are you serious? Your argument for her being a good character is she let emotions guide her motions? Should I name literally any dictator in the history of the world? Can I name any person who has facilitated genocide in the history of the world? And you think they are a compelling villain? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What do you hate more, Skyburner's Oath or Eramis? I want to kill Eramis with Skyburner's Oath. For sure. All right.
Hello, my name is Aaron, but you can call me Hallowed if you'd like. As this is my first video on this channel, I'd like to start off with a little introduction so that you know what I'm all about.
Is this video, is that me skipping or is that him?
I'm a scientist by profession, but for fun, I like to
Oh, fucking me too, buddy! Let's go! Science buddies!
write, draw, and play video games. My love for the lore of these games is what prompted
Okay, so Aaron, I'm gonna give you a tip. This is one of two things that's happening here. It looks like your encoder is overloading. So I don't know what you recorded with. If you recorded with NVIDIA, if you're playing on PC and you're recording with NVIDIA, make sure that you're recording to an SSD that you're not playing the game from. That helps with stuttering a little bit. If you're recording using OBS, make sure it's not saying 3D encoder overloaded. So I would recommend using your CPU-based encoder if you can, or excuse me, I would recommend using your GPU encoder, NVENC it's usually called, if you can. And then you might need to lower the quality of Destiny just a little bit. I've ran into these problems over the last decade. Those have always been my two most likely fixes. But hopefully that would be my recommendation to start to, because that it's not really a huge problem, but so much of the population, like as soon as they see something that isn't perfect, they just tune out. So video I have found is important. Audio is more important, but you know, if you make those things, just try to make them as pristine as possible. But yes, fellow scientists, I'm very curious what Aaron does now. Bungie is always choosing the worst characters to keep alive. Callus is dead, and so is Cade. Well, to be fair, it was time for Callus to die. Like, you know, I would have liked, I still think like a revamped Leviathan where Callus, they could do like a what if or whatever. I don't fucking care about how it fits into the lore. I do not care. But I think like a revamped Leviathan where Callus has his disciple powers and it's pretty much the same raid but a little bit different with more mechanics, a little bit more complex, different visuals, I think would be sick. I want that, but it was time for Callus to die.
make this channel. I'm an aspiring writer, and while I've not yet published any of my own works, I'm learning to hone my craft by studying the stories of the games that I love. This has given me a passion for lore dissections and discussions, and I hope that by creating this channel I can move some of those discussions from private ramblings with my friends to something that the greater public can also enjoy.
That's sick. Okay. I know a lot of people like these intros tend not to, at least in my experience, resonate with a lot of audiences. I love this sort of stuff. I think that's really cool. So good for Aaron. That's sick. That's really cool. Best of luck. This is a great, I don't know like where you are in your career. I literally only got through my PhD because of YouTube. Like I would have died if I would have just burnt out so fast if I didn't have a creative outlet. So this is sick. Best of luck with everything.
Now let's move on to the rest of the video. I'm going to start with a cold opening and say that Eramis is, in my opinion, one of Destiny 2's current most misunderstood characters. She premiered as the primary antagonist of the Beyond Light
I thought Aaron was about to say one of the best characters. Oh, audio's a little low. Sorry about that. Thank you. Give us an army raid where no, we don't need any more. Look, this is a misconception, or maybe not a misconception, but I think too many people are looking to dwell in the current saga of Destiny. And this, I put out a tweet today where it's like, look, if we kill Shiva Wrath next season, which we should, it should be in a dungeon. It should be in the dungeon. Okay, I don't want any future raids wasted on current enemies. I'm done with this saga. I want next episode to completely wrap up everything that is, left as a major part of this, which at this point is Shiva Wrath and the Worm Gods. I want the season to open. Shiva Wrath dies in the dungeon week 1, February 7th, I believe. And then the rest of the season is us learning more about, they said the eldritch cosmic forces that shape the universe or whatever, and how, how that maybe relates to the Worm Gods, because Worm Gods Ahamkara seem to have like a much deeper relationship to kind of the big forces of the universe. And I hope the rest of the episode is us like dealing with them. But I want Shivu. She deserves either a raid or a dungeon. A raid is not going to happen. I think she should die very bigly in the dungeon, make it an epic set piece, get it over with, and she's just dead. It cannot be, it would be such a monumental failure if it isn't a story mission. I cannot stress that enough. It would be such a huge, demonstrable failure if she is a regular seasonal mission boss. It would be so bad. It would be so bad. What do you mean bad take? Like, wait, she needs to die. She needs to be gone. We need to be done with the saga. We need to put it in a box so we can move on to new stuff. We've done this for 10 years. We're done here. We're moving over here. Shivu and the Worm Gods are the final part, and they all need to die. She'll probably get her own expansion. There is literally 0% chance that happens. They have made incredibly clear that we are moving on. We are going forward. We're moving away from light and darkness. Shivu Wrath is an artifact of the light and darkness saga, and she is going to die. Not everyone has access to dungeons. Not everyone has access to raids. Not everyone has access to the episode. What type of fucking argument is that? It's a ridiculous argument. That's a crazy argument. A fucking dungeon is $10. The final shape was 50 or 60, and that was the fucking death of the biggest bad in the whole Destiny franchise. Dude, like, the whole paywall thing's ridiculous. That's a dumb argument. That's a bad argument. That's a bad argument. Dungeons aren't a direct tie into seasonal stories. If Heresy's about her, there's no way she'll die in it. That is exactly the point. Well, that's not, first off, that's not actually necessarily true. There have been many dungeons. Duality plays quite heavily. Spire the Watcher plays pretty heavily into, maybe not the season, but the expansion cycle. Vespers is almost certainly going to play very heavily into Apollo. They're usually used to like foreshadow a little bit. I don't think next season is about Shiva Wrath. They said it's about taking the Hive hierarchy and flipping it on its head. Shiva's just at the top of it right now. Like, that's not flipping anything on its head if it's just about her. That is just the Hive hierarchy. That's it. That's it. That's probably a dumb question, but we never killed anyone important in the dungeon. Dueling Karu was very important. You could argue Atrax is super important. Or the puppeteer. So, at the bare minimum, Shivu should die in the exotic mission. No. Oh, at the bare minimum. Yes, I agree with that. She should not, under any circumstances, she should not be a seasonal mission. That would be the most disappointing thing in the history of this franchise. If she didn't have any mechanics, if she didn't put up a fight, if she just rolled over and died in a seasonal mission, that would be pathetic. It would be so pathetic. As if we're not going to fight the same races in Frontiers. There's a difference between, like for instance, we didn't fight the Dread for literally any of Saga 1 until the final expansion. And the big bad was the Witness, right? You don't have to have a new race to set up a new big bad. Not saying we shouldn't get one. Obviously, I'll take any new lore and new enemy races anytime we can get them. But that's not necessarily what that means. Do we get a definitive ending with Savathûn? I'm not sure if we will get a definitive ending with Savathûn. If we do, I would expect it to be next season. So if they'll do her justice in a story mission, you'll fuck with that or not? It is not possible. There is no scenario where Shivu is done justice in a you guys are fine. You guys, like, every single person under the sun complain about killing Zola in a strike, but we're just fine with killing the most important remaining Hive member in a fucking story mission? Is that what we're doing here? Like, I don't understand. We all got mad with Kyria, or however you spell it. Yeah, exactly. She deserves a difficult, mechanic heavy, and more specifically, a combat heavy encounter. She's the god of fucking war, bro. Truly, she deserves a raid. We're not gonna get that. That's just not happening. That's not on the cards. We get one raid a year. They're not gonna waste it on an old villain. Dungeon. Are you okay with us teaming up with Riven and Savathûn? The problem with Retribution arcs is every single time one happens, it becomes less interesting and less convincing. So when it happened with Crow, well, really, when it happened with Mara, okay. When it happened with Crow, okay. When it happened with Riven, all right, I'm getting kind of sick of this. When it happened with Savathûn, other way around. What the fuck are we doing here? When it happened with Eramis, fucking kill me right now. It's like, it'd be... Worst character? Come on, there's Nimbus. Nimbus is not as bad as Eramis. I will die on that fucking hill. Nimbus is just kind of like a 5 out of 10. They're kind of annoying. They're not the best character ever. You know, it's definitely not what we were looking for. I find Eramis to be incredibly insulting that she even exists.
Expansion, where she led her people, the House of Salvation, into forming the basis of an Elixni empire.
This is we are watching this video. Please be nice. Show Aaron some love, because we are watching it.
And to destroy the Travelers so that the great tragedy that befell the Elixni could never happen again. She is a deeply tragic.
Can someone check the video and see if it's stuttering? Like I just want to make sure this isn't me.
Complex character.
I don't think it is.
This is something that the game has been struggling to fully display. As of right now, she's going through a redemption arc. And while I've seen a lot of people hating on this concept, there's not a lot of people that seem to really understand her character.
To be clear, my perception is I have a very clear understanding of her character. I just fucking hate her. No, I skipped shit!
Accurate, or excusing Eramis's past actions against humanity, or claiming that what she did do was excusable. What this is a rundown of the most common misconceptions about her character that I see.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're not trying. Okay.
As well as
that directly contradicts what the title says. That's all I'm saying.
Explanation as to why she behaved the way that she did, and why she is indeed still redeemable despite it all.
Did I misunderstand? Did they not just say they're not trying to defend her?
It's excusable. What this is here. First and foremost, this is not a video excusing Eramis's past actions against humanity, or claiming that what she did do was excusable. What this is a rundown
if something is inexcusable, I would argue that means it's not redeemable by like default. But that's just my, that's, I don't know.
Why she behaved the way that she did, and why she is indeed still redeemable despite it all. This is not an attempt to erase her crimes, but to instead shed light on the nuances of the situation. Making excuses for her actions is not the intention here, and if I'm going to be completely honest, entirely flattens the appeal of her as a whole. The reason that I'm making this video is primarily because I see a lot of comments hating on her that are either inaccurate or already addressed in the lore. And I'm of the opinion that if you hate a character, you should at least...
Redemption and excusing aren't the same thing in some philosophical circles. I would just say if something is completely inexcusable, that circumvents or prevents redemption. Like, I think for something to be redeemed, there has to be some sort of positive aspect to it, or like an understandable aspect to it, right? Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like you could circle argument this anyway.
Hate on them accurately. If this changes your opinion of her, great.
Eramis isn't the worst. We're the worst for trusting her. Our guardian has such stupidly diverse choices. We shoot an unharmed Uldren Sov, but we don't just execute the fuck out of Eramis. And like, come on! Eramis has like done like objectively worse things than Crow ever did. That's so true. That is 100% correct. We murdered we like committed mass genocide on the Scorn to kill fucking Crow.
If not, then that's also perfectly fine. While she's my favorite character in Destiny, she honestly...
What the fuck did you just say? What? The fuck did you just say? She's your favorite character in all of Destiny? We have 10 years of lore and Eramis is your favorite character?
She still has her moments where she pisses me off as well.
That's base though.
She just took that spot as my favorite because I have a tendency to love deeply complex tragic assholes, of which she fits the bill. If you don't like deeply complex tragic assholes, or you just don't like asshole characters in general, then you are entirely valid in continuing to dislike her. I'm just trying to explain the narrative reasoning behind her redemption, as I believe it is extremely important for the continuing storyline of the Elixni people.
I think the point of the story, the Saint shows humanity is just as guilty of the crimes as Elixni are. Yeah, I totally get that. But like, the Elixni, or the Fallen, attacked us first, right? And so I feel like we're a little, at least initially, we're a little more justified in demonizing them. And obviously, you know, we've come a long way. But they literally attacked us first. And it is human nature at that point to defend yourself and then retaliate. That's how that works. Now, I'm not saying everything that Saint did was 100% justifiable, because obviously it's not. But like, that's what trauma does. Hard to start a proper story. But yeah, like, we didn't do shit to Eramis, dude. And she just tried to fucking kill us. All of us. Or them, Guardians. And then she tried to fucking blow up the Traveler. On behest of the Witness. How would that even work? I'm actually really confused now. All right, now I need a lore person. I've never thought about this. But if Eramis successfully destroys the Traveler, then how does the Witness do the final shape thing? We were killing her race from way before even Destiny 1. Yeah, but like once again, they came to Earth and attacked us first. Right? Like, there's a huge history of Destiny from before Destiny 1. The final shape was an afterthought? Well, that I don't think that's true. Probably use its corpse. Can that work? Can you take the light from the traveler? But if that's true, why didn't it just like fucking murk the traveler? Like if a big laser can kill the traveler and that's fine, surely the witness can just fucking kill the traveler and that's fine. And there's no lore on humans killing first. It's like what they came to us and killed us first. Like objectively, that's what happened. We didn't go to Reese. And once again, not everything after that is justifiable. It's not. That's just a consequence of trauma. That's the whole point of that entire story, right? Imagine Eramis the next saga main villain. That's not happening. It was a test. The lasers wouldn't have done anything. Oh, do we? Is that what we think? Well, then if that's true, then Rasputin just died for nothing. Because then the witness could have just fucking tanked it. Or the traveler could have just tanked it. We win in the final shape because we stopped the witness just before it fully gains control of the traveler's light. The worst that's firing on it would have wounded it to make it double time. Is that like confirmed or is that a theory? Never thought about that like that. But Eramis did that. Okay. And I don't even fucking, I was mad at a third thing. I don't even remember. I've raged it out of existence at this point. Wherever the fuck she did in Plunder. She's just trying to kill us too many times, man. It's like, you get one chance, you get one thing. If you try to kill us one time, you're redeemable, that's fine. 2 times, you're gonna fucking die. 3 times, what the fuck are we doing? 3 times is too many times. That's too many times.
I also want to clarify here that I don't entirely blame people for not understanding her character, as I don't believe that the storytelling method of Destiny 2 is a great fit for a character like Eramis. Additionally, I am of the opinion that the writer's narrative choices have done a poor job of marrying the written lore of the game, where we are privy to her internal dialogue, and the actual gameplay, where we are confronted solely by the front that she puts up. However, I am likely going to make an entirely separate video on that subject, as I don't really want to muddy the waters here too.
Okay, and to be entirely clear, like 98% of my lore knowledge is in-game. I know the collector's edition lore, and I know in-game, and that's about it. So, as she has been presented on those fronts, she's the worst fucking character ever.
This video is more about explaining why her previous actions against the Vanguard and the Traveler are much more complicated than what you may initially believe, and why she had much less agency under the Witness than most people give her credit for.
What about like all the shit she did before that?
Misconception 1. Eramis' hatred for the Traveler and her association with the Darkness. First and foremost, I'm going to start off with this one. I see many people point out that one of the things that frustrates them about Eramis the most is the fact that she joined forces with the entity that caused the devastation of Reese. And I actually do agree with that. Eramis' hatred for the Traveler was irrational.
I didn't even fucking think about that. But you know what? That makes me hate her a 4th time.
But here's
Bro, who cares? The game is dead. Obviously, you care enough to fucking click on this video, dumbass.
Kicker. Greed.
Thanks for the algo boost, baby. Appreciate you.
Eramis alone is not a rational person. I'll get into that in a little bit. For now, let's take a look at why she was so willing to use the darkness. There is one very important thing to consider here, and it is that there is no indication in the canon story that Eramis had any idea that the Witness itself was behind the devastation of Reese until she got unfrozen. In the Shipstealer lore book, she formed Reese Reborn on Europa on the basis of a dream. There was no definitive presence announcing itself as it did for Callus, for Rolk, or even for us. And when it does speak to her directly, she responds with terror and confusion, as evident in the first entry of the lore book Between Storms.
Doesn't she, like, call out? What are her final words? Is it not my witness? Am I making that up before she gets frozen? Is that someone else? I made that up? Oh, is that Rolk? Sorry, too many bad guys. What does she say? Oh, she doesn't say shit. Witness, forgive me. Let's see. God, that cutscene makes me mad.
And stars. Take a listen to this. You are cold, child. Eramis's world was a choking smother of darkness and pain. She could not move. She was only vaguely aware of the voice. We have a use for you. A mass of frozen splinters seals her eyes. How long has she been here? We would have you find something for us, something which was lost. The voice swirled around her like smoke, echoed inside her mind. Though terrifying, it was something to focus on amidst the surrounding nothing.
The fuck were we thinking leaving her there? That is, like, also a genuinely really good question. I mean, we took Savathun's dead corpse and put it in, like, a fucking top security prison. Why didn't we take Eramis and, like, fucking jettison her into the sun or something? Like, why did we just leave her there? What a weird move.
Who is speaking? Answer, said the voice, convincing and commanding.
We didn't think she'd ever thaw out? Like, then why not, like, we just left her there to be like a fucking martyr statue? What are we doing here?
Eramis paused. As if in response, her perception began to dim, and she felt the crushing darkness closing in around her once more. There was no fight here. This was no choice. She remembered her people. Yes, she thought, and the pain ceased. Gather those who would serve you, and know you serve us. A surge of images filled her mind, tendrils of inky vapor trailing through the stars, hidden vessels secreted amongst long-forgotten treasures, a whisper rising to a roar, the great machine beginning to awaken. And then...
Was that his cat? Or was that my cat? You guys hear meowing?
secreted amongst long-forgotten treasures, a whisper rising to a roar, the great machine beginning to awaken.
Okay, that's their cat. I thought fucking Shadow was freaking out behind me. Jesus Christ, man, you're giving me a heart attack. Oh my god.
She thinks about the witness here in a manner that makes it clear that she's never actually heard it directly speaking to her in her visions before. Moreover, the witness itself does not speak to her like it did to Rolk or us, where it attempts to get us to join of our own volition. It instead moves directly to threatening her with death if she does not gather her people, and then by reaffirming that she obeys it, and nothing else.
Okay, I would also just like to point out, and maybe they'll cover this, but if you, like, doing something under the threat of personal harm or death does not make you, like, you know, you know what I mean? Especially, like, fucking genocide? Like, are we serious here?
As stated in the lore book, this was not a choice. I also believe that this is where Eramis realizes that the voice in the darkness is the entity behind the whirlwind, which is huge. This means that the entire duration of Beyond Light had her operating under the assumption that she had stolen a weapon of the enemy to use for the defense of her own people, not realizing the whole time that it
Bro, this
had
cat's
been a
scaring the
trap.
shit out of me.
Small wonder, then, that she had such a self-righteous rage about her during Beyond Light, and why she rejected Varrix's attempt to tell her that the darkness was altering her perception.
But, like, once again, there were already Elixni that were partnered with humans at this point. Varix had done this for years. Mithrax was already aligned with us. So even if we don't think she's under the duress of the witness or whatever, or she's feeling self-righteous, her, going into the pyramid and getting the darkness shard and doing this, and then especially her fucking sending the goddamn DSC nuke, trying to get all that, like, those are direct acts of war against people that, like, we've already shown that we can be friendly to Elixni. So that doesn't excuse any of this. Varix pretty much betrayed us in Forsaken. Yeah, sure, but we help him in the first mission.
Much like a fish
of this
a parasite in
campaign.
its brain, her behavior was being changed without her having any idea that it was leaving her open to the witness's primary target.
She attacked the Traveler, not the people. That's some, like, real big, oh, the headquarters of their military operation just happened to be in the middle of 700,000 civilians. Oops. Like, that's not a great excuse, man.
Us.
Like, you don't think, wait, the fucking humanity is around the Traveler. You don't think nuking the goddamn Traveler has any consequences?
That the Elixni were not aware that there was one specific entity behind the whirlwind also means that their perception on the Traveler's abandonment is inherently going to be much different than ours, where we know that there was...
Mithrax's case is the same. No, he just realized he was doing a bad thing earlier than here. I don't even know what Mithrax was doing on Titan. To be honest, I don't remember that adventure, or like what it was. But he stopped like immediately. He stopped it maybe one genocide. Like I said, you can attack me one time. That's fine. That's a given. It's a scary world out there. 2 times, I'm gonna have to kill you. 3 times, inexcusable.
Some dark entity out there orchestrating the whole thing. And this is why Eramis is not the only member of the Elixni who have such a hatred for the
Pre-season
Traveler.
of Splicer, there was no cooperation with the Fallen that wasn't for our own benefit. But that's like how... That doesn't mean that we're not open to it, right? He was stealing a reactor that would have sunk the Ark. All right, well, there was like two people aboard that thing. So genocide's a little aggressive. He would have killed Sloane and potentially Zavala. A little more excusable.
If you take the witness out of the picture, then the whirlwind seems to be less like the Traveler attempting to flee the Black Fleet to spare Reese, and more that its presence was what was holding the darkness at bay to begin with, and that it was its absence that allowed it to descend upon Reese. In this case, then, Eramis's hatred for gods playing with people like their pawns makes sense, because the natural...
It does, but it doesn't justify... Like, once again, if you destroy a fucking giant machine floating above a city... where like 90% of the remaining humans are, and you fucking destroy it, and you kill a bunch of those people, you're saying, hey, I feel you, brother. They left us too. How could it have done this to you? How could it have fallen on your children and crushed them to death? It's a good thing I killed it. It wasn't above the city when she did that. It was until she started activating the laser and it rised up to meet her. It was. It exactly was. It raised up so it didn't fucking fall on them.
Conclusion that one would draw from this perspective.
That is such
would be that
cope.
The Traveler was an apathetic entity that moved from civilization.
Scare, are you watching a fan-made video essay with contrasting opinion to make your own shit take look better? I actually think he might be cooking me right now, but I maintain I will die on this hill until the day I fucking die. Okay, but if she didn't do that, we wouldn't have the cool cutscene with the Traveler. That's a great point. It's a great point. Scare, pull up the Rule 34 of Eramis. We need the full story. Oh, God. Siri, how many nipples do Fallen have? I need to make some fan art. Oh, Jesus. Okay, Eramis never had humanity's best interest, but she looks out for Elixir kind. Yeah, but that doesn't make her, like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make her redeemable. That's just like, yeah, great, cool. She cared about, like, some of them. That's fine. That's great.
To civilization, upraising them on a whim.
Oh. Why does he have so many quests? Oh, this is this season, too. I've never seen it this full. I didn't even know you could get 4 right there. They're big when you only have a couple, right? I think they, like, fill up as many. That's good UI design.
And then abandoning them when it got bored. I believe that this is...
You should rewatch the cutscene. The war stats didn't get activated until it already tried to leave. Brother, if I am coming... I'm not going to use that as an example. If I'm like, I am going to shoot this deer, and this whole time I'm walking towards this deer, and the deer is stationed in front of 2 children, okay? And the whole time, I'm gonna kill this deer. I'm gonna kill this deer. I'm gonna shoot this deer. And I'm walking, and I walk fucking 3 miles, knowing exactly where it is and what's around it. Just because the deer moves at the last second does not mean I was ready to shoot those kids, okay? Like, what are we talking about here, man? She knew where the Traveler was. The Traveler hasn't moved in 1,000 fucking years. She had no reason to think it was going to move. What are we doing? Like, you can't. That's not. Like, fuck, bro. If you set out to do something based off of what you know, if that changes and just happens to make the collateral less bad at the last second, that doesn't still not make you a piece of shit. The trolley problem isn't a good example here, Chief. That was not the trolley problem. That was exactly not what that was. Unless someone else said the trolley problem and you were responding to them. That is not what I was saying. If Eramis left us alone, we would have just left her alone. She was power hungry and using the cover of For My People to justify her actions. Varric says so during Beyond Light. I don't know what quote you're talking about. But as far as I understand the situation, I completely agree. I don't know what it seemed like from her point of view. But once again, there were multiple... Okay, by that point, we had already worked with Spider. We didn't fucking murder Spider. Spider has a whole group of associates that we... Like, hundreds, thousands of them, however many, that we didn't fuck with at all. We just let them do their thing, and they live, like, relatively close to us. We had Mithrax, who we had already done advanced missions with and coexisted with. We had already done Varric at this point, who she could directly talk to. There are multiple examples of us coexisting with these people, this species, these entities, and not just murdering them because they exist. Yeah, but Spider's an asshole? That makes us more likely to kill him. That makes it even more impressive that we don't murder him. Yeah, I tried to fix my fucking language. I know, that was really bad. I'm sorry. My point being, we had already shown multiple times at this point that it is possible for humans and Elixir to coexist under a variety of different situations. We've already done it. And it's not like they were like secret sects of them. These are very, as far as I'm aware, well-known individuals and groups of people within Elixir culture that clearly get around. Like I said, Varric was talking to Eramis. She would have known this. And so mutually beneficial agreements compared to having a charity in like Season of Splicer. Yeah, sure, but we still coexist, right? At that point, things have to evolve. You don't jump, especially in a situation like this. You don't jump from like immediately at war to, oh, hey, let's all help each other out. There's phases of these things. We've seen that historically. It's literally happening, or should be happening in the world right now. It's not quite in many situations, which is awful. But we were like this was progress. And then she was like, nah, fuck it. Actually, I'm gonna get these nukes in space. We're gonna get these space magic powers, and I'm gonna fucking murder all of you. I'm gonna shoot this giant ball that just happens to be above all humanity, and whatever happens, brother. Fuck it. We harbored Elixir in the farm. That was like on the DL. I think like I don't think that was well known. I think the spider situation is the best example. 100%.
Is also why in Beyond Light, Eramis often mocks us by calling us pawns of the Great Machine.
Do you think, given how long Elixir and humans have been living in this city together, do you think any of them got busy?
And why in her confrontation speech with us, she says, "Look what I've done for you. No more light, no more dark. And then, come then, pawn, show me what freedom has given you." She legitimately thought that in this instance we were simply the Traveler's newest playthings, and not actually guardians that rose to its defense as a last resort. This also makes even more sense when you factor in the information that we got from the Gardenway lorebook, where it is said that the dancers were leading a procession and...
But also, like, once again... Like, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to, like, formulate this. So if she, at this point... We're never making it through this fucking video. I'm talking too much. I'm just Yap Central right now. But if she thinks the Traveler is solely responsible for the whirlwind, and now she sees that we have the Traveler, and so she's like, oh, this thing's gonna fuck him over eventually, so why don't I just fuck him over now? Like, well, that doesn't really make sense either. Right? You know, am I wrong there? Am I missing a step? She's like, oh, the Traveler's going to leave eventually. So, like, what if I just fucking kill it right now? But it's the same. Her entire philosophy since Beyond Light has been, we don't need the Traveler. And then instead of just leaving peacefully, which would make sense for that philosophy, she continuously attacks us. But I think, like, the way this was just framed is that she thinks that she's, like, saving us from the Traveler. Your house is destined to burn down eventually, so I might as well torch it now with gasoline. Yeah, that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. The only difference there is if she thinks that when the Traveler leaves, it'll... Like, I don't really have a great understanding of, like, what the whirlwind looked like. So, like, maybe she believes when the Traveler leaves, it'll also, like, fucking nuke Earth or whatever. And so maybe she thinks by killing it early, yeah, we'll be distraught and we'll be really sad and some people might die, but at least the Earth won't get nuked. Like, maybe that's what she's trying to argue. We have a cutscene showing the... Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Whirlwind cutscene Destiny. Is it this one? Towards the end? It was not towards the end, you liar. Yeah, so Traveler... Okay, so the Traveler's just leaving and shit's, like, breaking. It's the Revenant. Oh, it's in addition to this. It's the Revenant Act 2 Skull. So it's not this one. I don't know what fucking episode this is from, man. It's been 4 weeks since we got a story beat. I don't remember shit. Revenant Destiny cutscene. Okay, we should be good. We should be good.
Do you see it, Guardian? Memory of Reef.
Wasn't most of Eramis attacking us from the witness threatening her into it? Yeah, we're still before that. We haven't even made it there yet because I've been yapping so long. So I'm just saying her first attempt at genocide was bad. Yes, Live, you can send me a video, of course. You don't have to ask.
Years of hubris and bloodshed. The fallen house of wolves, led by Skolas the Rabid. The song. A whirlwind dirge. A seeking song for the lost. But
This is...
does not
Wait, this cutscene shows the whirlwind?
recognize the singer. The echo. It is the echo that sings to us, Guardian. Sings of Reese through our memories.
Oh, yes.
An old strength.
Okay. So if this is what the whirlwind looked like, if this is what the whirlwind looked like, and they saw the pyramid ships, then it is completely unacceptable to believe that Eramis did not know that the pyramid ship on Europa was what caused it. I don't care if she thought they were associated with the Traveler or not.
The scattered through a time of doubt and wrath. But it sees now how Fikrul wields its power. False life for an
What if she just never looked out the window?
army of the slain.
This is a fucking sick
Like
cutscene.
Skolas for his pawns. The echoes seek.
Bro. There's like a billion of them. And you could make the argument, oh, well, okay, she was just stealing stuff from the pyramid ship, but she literally reaches towards the pyramid ship at the end. Like, something's not adding up. And maybe this is just like, oh, they didn't plan the story that far ahead, and so there's some inconsistencies they have to write around. Her ass knew, man. Oh, Jesus, what is this video? Lab sent this to me. If I am coming... If I am coming... Oh, I'm fucking crying. I need to turn on the AC. Jesus fucking Christ. That's the funniest goddamn shit I have ever seen. Oh. Oh. god! That is so fucking funny. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Gee. Okay, sorry.
The Great Machine. Eramis was a dancer on Old Greece. And not only that, she was one of the Elixni who tracked the movements of the Great Machine through Greece's skies, likely for the purpose of these religious rituals. She was one of those devout, and before the whirlwind, she was training her children in this art. Of course, she's going to feel a sense of incredible betrayal at its abandonment. She poured her entire life into the worship of the Traveler, and what she got in return was the complete destruction of everything that she ever loved. That is not a grief that you can easily come back from. That is a festering wound that will never fully heal. This is where her hatred for gods comes from. Another thing worthy of mentioning here is that Eramis's hatred for gods...
I just, like, want to point out, like, yeah, I hate gods as much as the next guy, but, like, I'm not trying to fucking murder civilizations because of it, like...
...indeed extend to the witness once she was freed from the ice. Before her freezing, her vitriol against being the pawn of gods was focused entirely on the Traveler. In the messages she left for us at the Spire, however, it extended to gods in general, meaning both the Traveler and the Witness. So this tells us that the root of her anger is centered around being used by entities that she is helpless to fight against, not just the Traveler. And indeed, she has not shown nearly as much hatred towards the Traveler since her forceful conscription into the Black Fleet. Even when she fired the war stats, I believe that was her trying to cling desperately to some degree of power or choice in a situation where power and choice was entirely absent. Which segues me neatly into my next topic. Misconception 2. Eramis was responsible for Rasputin's death. This is, in my belief, the most egregious one, because it is not only incorrect, it also completely destroys the worth of Rasputin's sacrifice. Now, whether or not you consider Rasputin's suicide to become a competent narrative choice is up for debate, but I will say that they at least handled the means of his death quite elegantly. For a war mind like Rasputin, who was created for the sole purpose of destroying the Traveler, having him go beyond his purpose to destroy himself for the sake of humanity, something that he did not do during the collapse, is a poignant death that speaks deeply to how he evolved beyond his purpose to become a person of his own. We all know that Rasputin had evolved beyond the scope of a simple AI over the course of his existence, but his death was the most significant display of his humanity that we have seen thus far. But who really killed him? It wasn't Eramis. It was Evo Arath. Rasputin's main logic for self-destruction was not Eramis firing the war sats, it was the looming threat of Xivu Arath. With her still present in her throne world, any attempt at warfare...
Okay. Like, that is semantically a good argument, if you really want to get into it, but more than one person can be at fault for something. Right? Like, yeah. It's like, maybe Xivu was more responsible, but that doesn't make Eramis not responsible.
Would have only bolstered her power. And in any instance...
Rasputin would have had to sacrifice himself anyways, as he would have fueled Xivu and caused her to open her throne world above Earth. But, like, not if Eramis didn't do that. Right? Rasputin didn't need to self-destruct because of Xivu, he just couldn't attack anyone. Eramis is the one that made him sacrifice. Yeah, like, this is like, it's a two-step problem here. I don't know, it's like, more than, like, multiple people go to jail for the murder of a single person all the time. And, like, I'm not trying to say, like, the United States law system, legal system is the most infallible or like, definitionally sound institution of all time. I think it's just a poignant example. But, like, more than one person can be responsible for the death of something.
of his system still being left operational left him open for them to be attacked and used by our enemies. Rasputin knew this. And while the threat of Eramis of the Kontrol certainly hastened the matter, it still stands that Rasputin died of his own volition to save humanity from Sipo Iraq.
Yeah, but like, I mean, like, you can, there's, this is such a semantics argument. Cause and effect. Rasputin would not have to have killed himself or had Anna kill him if not directly for Eramis's actions. Thus, she is a main cause of his death. What she was doing would not have resulted in his death if Shivu wasn't there. But if Shivu was there and Eramis wasn't, Rasputin would not be dead. So it works both ways. You need both of them. This is like he said he's a scientist. This is a kinetics equation, like a second order kinetics equation, right? Like there are more species that are responsible here than just Shivu. If we killed Eramis, you don't think the witness wouldn't have just sent someone else? Yeah, maybe they would have. And I would be making this, and if that next individual tried to redeem themselves, I'd be making the same argument. You can't just like kill someone who has a fucking terminal disease and be like, oh, they would have died anyways. Like, that's not how it works. You can't do that. Like, yeah, the witness would have found it doesn't. It's not even like I guess they were. I was gonna ask you if the witness and Shivu were in conjunction at this point, but I guess they were. Were they in conjunction until which? Like, I guess I need to refresh my understanding of their relationship too. It's not a specific fault of Eramis. I think that's his point. Yeah, but once again, that's like a semantics thing. She still was like directly responsible for it. No, I know they were in conjunction, but is it like what's that relationship look like? Like, was it more like a callous one where it was like, Shivu thinks she can get something out of it? Is it like an unyielding loyalty? Like, what does that look like? I'm a little curious.
He stood among us as one of our most stalwart defenders up to the end, and settling the blame on
Is this
Eramis,
convo not including Nimbus? I will maintain Eramis I hate Eramis much more than I ever hated Nimbus.
Was merely
Blind faith,
pawn in
okay.
this whole facade, significantly cheapens the sacrifice. It didn't matter who pressed that button, the end result would have always been the same.
Yes, but we are not, A, that didn't happen, and B, if fucking Saint 14 walked up and pressed that button and then wanted redemption, we'd fucking hate him too. That's not like, it's a very semantic, like, it wasn't 100% my fault,
Rasputin's sacrifice that was the catalyst for the Traveler making a final stand above Earth, as it displayed the sheer raw goodness of humanity. As for Eramis's control over the Warsats, this is where things get a little more complicated. Yes, she did fire the Warsats. Yes, this does seem to be her choice. However, I think it's safe to say that she didn't really have any actual agency in the matter, and that this is because the presence of the witness watching her. When you have an all-powerful genocidal entity with the unmatched paracausal power that...
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But how unmatched is this guy? Like, how... Did you call him omnipotent? I want what's this?
Have an all-powerful genocidal...
Are they really all-powerful? A, we killed his ass. And B, if he was all-powerful, why does he need a laser at all? Just fucking gat the Traveler. Like, what... This is I think this is not a fault of the story, and this has nothing to do with the Eramis conversation, but this part really confuses me. Why does the witness literally need anyone else? Just like, go fucking... It could do all of this itself. And it pretty much does.
Unmatched paracausal power that has recently made your life a living hell, currently staring you down. You don't exactly have much of a choice but to fire the Warsats. Season of the Seraph displayed Eramis at her lowest point, with nothing more than her vengeance to keep her going. She had already failed her people, and she knew it. With the witness staring her down, and the knowledge that her punishment would likely cause even more suffering to them than to herself, for the witness knew that the best way to harm her was to harm her people, I believe it is safe to say that she did not have a legitimate choice in the matter. The fact that she hesitated at all when Mithrax spoke to her indicates that she wasn't sure of her own conviction herself. Not that it would have mattered even if she did refuse, for she would have liked—
Of the three, I think this is the most forgivable. But not for these reasons. I do, like, if you, in this scenario, I can understand. I can empathize a little bit. That being said, she still would have blown this motherfucker up if it was floating above a bunch of citizens. So, like, that's still bad.
either been killed or scorned regardless, but when it really came down to it, Eramis' choice was not her own, and her whispering that she was doing it for Reese was really just her grasping at any meager semblance of power.
Surely, like, Rasputin comes back at some point, right? Or do we think that, like, diminishes the sacrifice or whatever? That could happen. How far removed do we have to be? Does it matter?
Had in a situation after an unfathomable amount of time without it. Most importantly, however, Eramis witnessing the traveler refusing—
Oh fuck that! This is my desktop. I thought I crashed because I saw this. That's literally my desktop. Oh well, I've got Destiny open, but that's my desktop, and I thought I fucking crashed, bro. That is actually also a really interesting question. She could have been turned into Scorn. So we know the witness had the ability to do that. Why didn't he just turn her into Scorn? And just, like, make her do it? Did he have that? When did he get the power to control the Scorn? Was that later? Maybe he couldn't do it yet. She has light? She does not have light. What? Because she didn't die yet? Well, why didn't he kill her and then make her Scorn? He can't kill her? I don't really know how it works.
Subsequent attack on it by the witness.
Or he could just resurrect the Scorn around her until they kill her and then resurrect her.
Point in her character development. This event was what showed her that her desire to destroy the Traveler was ultimately—
We can't kill her either, so I doubt the witness can.
In the end. And it was this moment when she really began to focus her efforts on double-crossing the witness.
Wait, she's literally surrounded by pyramid ships right there. Like, he could have fucking killed her, man. And what this has nothing to do with Eramis as a character. I'm just, like, poking plot holes, I guess, or attempting. But
to work for the benefit of House Light.
Before only Deadfallen could turn into Scorn. Yeah, like, once again, just kill her or resurrect Scorn around her until they kill her. And then make her Scorn.
Having her defy the witness and dying in a blaze of glory by refusing to fire the Warsats might have been cool, but would have been a poor use of her character, as she is needed as a representation of the Elder Elixni in the overarching story of her people.
What is Mithrax? What is Varix? What is, I mean, not really Ido, but, like, we have characters that can fill this.
Our world died, Varix. Do you recall? We were absolutely—
Like, Varix is 1 billion% more redeemable than Eramis. Can we all agree on that? Does anyone disagree with that? As far as I'm aware, Varix has never really tried genocide. Like, I think he let the fucking Scorn Barons out. And yeah, makes him, like, vaguely responsible for Cade's death, but that's one thing.
powerless to stop it. I tried everything to put it behind me, to move on. But in my head,
Would I sacrifice a chess piece on a board when there's no reason to? Callus was a pawn, Eramis was a pawn, the witness wasn't in the system. It needed pieces to do its bidding. Yeah, so this is actually something that maybe explains things. Does the witness have to travel places? Like, is this like if anyone's seen the 3-body problem, is it kind of like that? Where the witness can send messengers ahead and it can kind of observe what we're doing, but it actually needs to travel in real time? Varix is still technically not on good terms with the queen and stuff. You think fucking Eramis is on good terms with the queen? I just said that more redeemable.
Dying. But then, darkness presented itself, and I took it. Finally, Varix. Finally, I felt I could do something. So go ahead. Call me a monster, but do not doubt that what I do for the future of our people.
And like, once again, I am pretty firmly planted that her motivations in Beyond the Light, as they pertain to us, were not for the future of her people. We were already coexisting. If she just wanted to get the power and leave, could have done that. Seemed to go definitely beyond that.
Misconception 3. Eramis was a disciple of the Witness. This is
a good misconception. Because Bungie did a really bad job, I think, clarifying who was and wasn't a disciple. And honestly, I think disciples were like criminally underutilized. I think it would have been way cooler if we got more disciples. I don't think Shivu was actually technically ever a disciple either. But I think if we got Rolk, Nezarec, Callus, and then like officially like a disciple Eramis and Shivu, I think that actually would have been way cooler. And make him kind of like Knights of the Apocalypse or whatever. Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Like that shit, I think actually would have hit a lot harder.
Point that I don't see as frequently anymore, but it is still a glaring misconception when it comes to Eramis's character, because Eramis was not in line to be a disciple since Beyond Light, if ever. The Witness preys upon the most vulnerable of a society to find its disciples, and while Eramis was certainly vulnerable, the other qualification for disciplehood is selfishness. Rolk and Callus, for example, were both found at the lowest point in their lives, but they desired nothing more than to elevate themselves above the positions that they had found themselves in.
I actually was not aware of this.
Took advantage of this selfishness to draw them to its theology.
Then why Shiva was becoming Oryx's replacement until we killed the Witness? So Witness... But was Oryx an official disciple? I don't think he was. No, yeah. And it took Callus like 3 days. Why did it take Oryx so long? Why did it take Shivu so long? Like, Callus was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. Whatever. I just don't, and this is once again not really reflective of the story in any way. I just wish that was a plot point that was used a little bit more. Like, I think like super souped up villains that are disciples, like I think that's like objectively cool. I remember at one point I was really convinced like all of the disciples were going to be different chess pieces. So like Rolk would be the rook. And like maybe their attacks would reflect that, right? And I think that would be really sick. Like could have Callus, I guess, be the king. Kind of like technically the Emperor would be the king in this point, but you know what I mean? Savathun could be the queen, and you know, all kind of representative of, because a lot of like the stuff the Witness does is like game speak, or like what the Darkness does. The Enclave has like checkers pieces. You know, they're always talking about the game of life or whatever. Like there's definitely, if you go on the pyramid ships, there's definitely like chess piece looking things, like you know. So I think that would have been cool if they leaned into that a little bit more. Okay, speaking of Shivu, what the fuck did cast out even mean? Does she lose her troops? She just can't. I don't think she lost her troops. She can't. So normally when the Hive Gods like died in the real world, they would just kind of like respawn in their throne worlds. It's like a super simplified way of saying it. But we cast her out of her throne world. So now if she dies, she's just dead. She's in a darkness zone, bro.
Eramis, even at the height of her power-hungry ways, did not.
Yeah, ego. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I just think it would be cool if they built on it, if they had built on it more.
She cared only about securing the fate of her people. Even her hatred of the Traveler tied into this. and this is a motivation that is antithetical to the Witness's philosophy. I also believe that this is why the Witness did not manifest itself to Eramis until she was already trapped and unable to escape its grasp in the stasis field, as it did with other disciples. With Rolk and Callus, its appearance to them was a joyous occurrence of uplifting. With Eramis, it was a threat. Eramis and the rest of House Salvation were a tier below the disciples in the Black Fleet, and indeed, her conscription into it was on par with the Hive Gods. For much like the Osmium siblings, she had only joined it because it had lied to her. It whispered salvation to her through her dreams, promising a means to give her people the ability to defend themselves against the Guardian threat, and instead it brought her death. Much like the worm whispered of the Syzygy to Sithona, the voice in the darkness whispered to Eramis of protection, and in both cases, their desire to save their loved ones brought only devastation to those they cared about. Eramis was never and would never be a candidate for disciplehood because she does not fit the core criteria of carrying.
She still should have been. I'm going to maintain that. That has nothing to do with this video at all, but I still think that would have been a really fun thing to explore.
Herself. There's also my
and then
own
we could have
personal
gotten a pantheon that was only of disciples, and that would have been fucking sick.
theory that Eramis was being used by the Witness in Beyond Light as a lure to try to win us over to the side of the Witness. And the reason for this theory is because Eramis's original goals for House Salvation were not
Was Shiva Wrath, did we banish her forever? Can she just go, like, kill a bunch of shit and, like, make another throne world?
originally to build an empire, but a home, using the darkness as a means of defense. Varric's remarks at the start of the
There is a fourth and likely fifth disciple in the lore as well, the one who attacked the New Moon College ship and caused them to crash on Neptune, and the one who questioned which is the real final shape. Were those those weren't disciples, right? Like, those were just the, I don't know about the first one, but the second one, that was that not just like the two individuals who, like, one of them ended up becoming the part of the Witness and the other one didn't? Or am I, like, you're talking about the Final Shape Collector's Edition lore, right? She's gone forever. Throne worlds are given to them when they ingest the worm. I don't think that's true. Because, like, Mara made her own throne world. Oh, she took Oryx's, maybe? And then, like, the one Scorn Baron also made their own. Like, I think you can... And I believe there's a quote, like, imagine how big your throne world would be, Guardian, or something like that. Like, I think you can just make it if you go through sword logic enough. I think you can make your own.
Expansion that she was not acting as herself, and there are several instances in the campaign where Eramis's behavior is explicitly mentioned to be irrational and unlike her. And what is the best way to get the Vanguard involved in housebreaking? Start acting irrationally in a way that demands a full-grade strike force coming out to kill you dead, which is what is heavily implied to have happened with Eramis. Additionally, there is a very crucial moment in the campaign where Critus is advising Eramis to take caution, and Frost begins to creep up her arm as she listens to her. Judging from Eramis's reaction, this was not a voluntary response, and the Frost did not return when she moved directly to raving about retaliation. If you ask me, this was evidence of the Witness goading her into action, forcing her to take more extreme paths than she might have been taught.
I always thought that was kind of a flex. I didn't really...
any other.
But I guess, yeah, it's her, like, losing control. I guess that kind of makes sense.
Because it needed her to act irrationally and angrily in order to get to us.
The video just went black here.
Personally, I am of the impression that the Witness draws out the worst in its victims, uses the darkness to amplify those emotions, and then makes them dependent upon its theology. Take a look at what happened to Zavala during the Final Shape, for example. The Witness drew upon his already present grief and doubt to attempt to manipulate him into joining its side, pulling upon his emotions to lure it in with false promises. Now imagine how easy it would have been to manipulate Eramis. Eramis, who lost not only her family...
If there were more Witness disciples out there, I don't think we'll ever see them. Or maybe they'll be their own thing. I don't know. But I don't think we'll ever see them again. Do you think they lost their power? I don't really know how that works.
Home planet,
probably not.
Who spent centuries watching the total degradation of her society and the slaughter of her own people.
It would actually be pretty fucking sick if we're, like, 5 years down the road And then we're just fighting this thing with crazy ass powers. And then he's like, or they're like, oh yeah, by the way, thanks for killing my boss, asshole. And then we're all just like, that'd be kind of sick.
Of the Guardians. She would have been an exceptionally easy target to manipulate, doubly so when missing her mate, Atheris, who we know was a regulating influence, and surrounded by a council of a like-minded nature to further goad her on. The basis of her tyrannical behavior was entirely her own, don't get me wrong here, but I don't think that the witness's influence should be ignored in this scenario either. If you ask me, I'm of the opinion that it intentionally amplified all of Eramis's worst traits to draw the attention of the Vanguard, and to ultimately have the young...
I don't see Eramis being the new voice of the Echo. It'll be Ido. I'm really curious. Like, yeah, I think they're clearly setting up Ido, right? I'm very curious what the ramifications of the Echoes are. Like, is Maya's just gone? Like, they're saving it for something, or else they would have just had us kill her. And then how are they going to handle it next season? Does Savathun end up getting one? Does Mara end up getting one? Like, what, you know, and then like, what does that mean for the future now that these like essentially giant MacGuffin machines exist? Like, why, you know? Very curious.
Wolf come to Europa so that they could receive its...
Yeah, I know Maya is still out there, so they clearly have plans for it.
Which would potentially draw...
I think Hashan should get one.
Had already failed to entice us over in Shadowkeep.
Or Shahan.
Perhaps this is the biologist in me speaking, but the whole deal with us being the ultimate target for Stasis...
I think there are like 3 or 4 total. I mean, if you watch the cutscene, there's like a bunch of them. There's a lot more than that. But, I mean, we're clearly only getting like 3 of them. Yeah, I do wonder if they'll pop up throughout this story. Like, we'll just be playing Apollo, and they're like, oh yeah, fucking Dave next door actually got a big shiny thing a couple months ago. We don't really know what the fuck that was about. Gave him red eyes, but other than that, he's pretty normal.
Mind how some parasites will alter the behavior of intermediate hosts in order to enter the bodies of their final hosts, their ultimate destinations. Much like a fish being driven to the surface to capture the attention of a diving bird, or cysts in the brains of mice to drive them close to cats, the witness wormed its way into Eramis's brain to amplify her desire for power and strength, catching the attention of its true victim. Us. All of Eramis's posturing about us being pawns was merely foreshadowing for what was to come for her.
As far as I'm aware, he didn't mention what type of scientist they were.
Herself speaks of the darkness as a parasite, one that exploits the desires of its victim to draw it into its
kind of
fold.
speaks like a psychologist.
Bear in mind that this does not absolve Eramis of guilt.
that's my guess. A social scientist.
But it is something to keep in mind when we talk about her. It doesn't feel quite right to call her a victim given all that she's done, but that's the thing about manipulation and abuse. Everyone is vulnerable to it, no matter how awful they may be. That doesn't absolve them of their crime.
He said biologist? Oh, did he? Oh, okay. I've always said that biology is kind of just chemistry with more memorization and depression. I missed it. Sorry, I missed it. I was thinking about the fucking mouse, okay? I guess that makes sense why he brought those examples up.
Make them any less of a victim. Eramis was never meant to be a disciple. No matter how you look at it, she turned from being a potential trophy to a mere pawn. And she never rose above it.
See, pawn, more chess references. I'm just saying. Could have done it.
Misconception 3. Eramis was trying to eradicate humanity. This point is the most difficult to disprove, as it lies not in what has been said, but more what has gone unsaid.
I don't think necessarily that she was trying to eradicate humanity. I think her blatant disregard for the human consequences for her actions cannot be overlooked.
All the other things that have indeed been said. Eramis is not exactly quiet about her hatred for humanity. However, I do not believe that her hatred of us extends to the point of genocide, and is in reality more of a response to her prior experiences with Elixni-human conflict in the Sol system. The greatest argument I see with people claiming that she wanted to wipe out humanity was because of her desire to destroy the Traveler. But here's the thing. The destruction of the Traveler and the destruction of humanity are not two things that are co-entwined, and I believe that Eramis' specific brand of hatred for us is localized mainly to the actions of the Vanguard. And even
Bro. When the Eramis, for hundreds of years, set out to destroy the Traveler, it was sitting right there, which is, you know, a mile above 90% of humans that are left in this universe. Now, I'm not a nuclear engineer, and I'm not a nuclear physicist, but I would just have to imagine if you nuke that, they are fucked. Like, I don't know what that damage that's gonna do. I imagine it's like all of it, though. It lifted up, bro. Yes, but she went to destroy it before it lifted up. We already been through this. She didn't know it was gonna do that. It hadn't moved for 1,000 fucking years or more. I don't know how long the timeline is, but it was there. It had always been there. She didn't know it was gonna move. She was ready to destroy it right there. She doesn't fucking have a mind meld with the Traveler. She thought it was going to be right there the whole time. She wasn't just gonna, I'm just gonna have this laser and I'm just gonna point it right at the Traveler, and if it ever moves, I'm gonna shoot it. That's not what she was saying. Also, we're gonna ignore the fact she tried to steal Outbreak Prime, an actual WMD. Was that Eramis? Zero Outbreak wasn't Eramis, was it? I thought that was, oh, it was? Oh, that's even more problematic. I thought, what was the name of the person in Niobe Labs? The boss? I thought that's who tried to steal it. Yeah, Sevix or something? I think that's right. I think it has an S. Sorry, I thought they were linked. It's been fucking 8 years. He was also a servant of Eramis. Bro. I didn't know. Okay. And like, look, if you're gonna like if you're not gonna hate her, if you're gonna empathize with her, can we, how pathetic is it is that she's this bad at her job? She couldn't steal Outbreak correctly. She couldn't steal the darkness correctly. She couldn't push a fucking button fast enough. And oh, she couldn't even collect pieces of a corpse. Man, she is so pathetic at her job. It is crazy how many attempts she has gotten. She's just bad. Why would we trust her to do anything? She's just gonna fail. Man.
even then, at the height of...
And we're sending her to fucking fight. What did we even send her to do? I don't even remember. All I remember was being angry. What did we send her to do? Did we send her to attack fucking Fickrul? Surely not.
fanaticism, Eramis did not speak to us in a way that implied that she saw us as vermin to be wiped out, but rather as thoughtless fools that were being held under the sway of the Great Machine. Fools that she would liberate with its destruction alongside the Elixni, and whose hatred of us only grew as we slaughtered more and more.
Killing the Traveler does not liberate the Elixni. Unless she's like, if I kill it, they'll stop trying to swarm to it, maybe?
Of her kin. Even at the apex of her madness during Beyond Light, Her hate seemed to be exclusively tied to the Lightbearers, and her only goals were to ensure that the Traveler felt the Elixir's pain. I highly doubt that she ever thought of what would come beyond that. In fact, I bet that she believed that when she destroyed the Traveler, she'd save us from experiencing a whirlwind of our own. There's a couple of voice lines from when we're going to commune with the Splinters that makes me think of this.
Yeah, but like, once again, if you knew, I love this guy's editing style. It's I like this. I like the little words. If you nuke the Traveler and you kill, it falls on fucking humanity. And you're like, I saved you. It's not a good sequence of events.
Oh, Pawn. In another life, we may have been allies, but instead, you put us at odds. So I have no choice but to use darkness to rip, shred, and tear through
Wait.
You put us at odds. So I have no choice but to use darkness to rip, shred, and tear through every single one of your kind.
But you could just like leave, bro. You have power.
You are not special. Just the plaything of a so-called god who would sooner see your life end than its own.
Additionally, the fact that she's willing to work with humans to save her people speaks volumes about how she actually feels about us as a species. Once she's under the Witness's control, Eramis changes her tune about Lightbearers pretty fucking quickly. She still believes that the Vanguard oppresses her people, yes, and I will get into why she has a reason to think that in a moment. But in Seraph, she turns to us to ensure that the people the Witness defiled were granted an honorable end. She's willing to listen to Mara trying to reach out to her, even if she rejects her attempt at solidarity. She also leaves us radio messages where she pleads for us to stop fighting, because she doesn't believe that we would prevail against the Witness, and she wants the unnecessary bloodshed to stop.
Yeah, just like fucking stop fighting against the Witness. Because and just let them kill you? Let them kill you? Like, what is this? I don't know. Maybe she doesn't understand like the full extent. I don't fucking know what she's been told. Nothing is foreshadowing Eramis getting the Echo. I don't know where that theory comes from. I mean, I think there's like a 50% chance she gets it, right? Like, it's either her or Ido. You know, it's looking for a true Elixir leader to do the full circle redemption, which is like the Bungie trademark. She gets the Echo. And then she finally gets to save her people, like she's been trying to do this entire time. I would say that is entirely the most foreshadowed thing. Ido would be second. Maybe Mithrax is third, but I think it's kind of clear that they're sending Mithrax up. I almost think Mithrax is going to die. Right? But I don't know. I want to be very excited at like what the prospect of the whole Nezarec thing is, but I am limited in how much I'm letting myself get excited because I know there's no way there's crazy gameplay implications from it. So I think it'll just be written off, which is unfortunate. Mithrax is getting the Echo guaranteed. Honestly, I think Mithrax gets the Echo to somehow both saves him and releases Nez. Oh, that's kind of an interesting theory. I had never really thought about the Echo being what cures Mithrax. But yeah, that does make sense. I'm going to say Eramis, most likely, yeah, then Mithrax, then Ido. Look, man, with how Bungie does redemption arcs, at least as I see it, I think Eramis is the most likely thing answer. I just hope that's not true. And it powers up Nez. But like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? Because it's not like they're gonna... I would love if it powers up Nez and we get like a new version of fucking Root of Nightmares. That would be insane. I just don't think that would ever happen. It would be awesome if it powers up Nez and then we get like another mission or something. But unfortunately, I'm at a point where I just don't think that's a reality from the game developer's front. You know what I mean? So at best, it powers up Nez. He fucks off. We get another 3-second cutscene. And that's it. And that's hard for me to get excited about. I would love to be proven wrong. Please prove me wrong, Bungie. Please.
He attempted to warn us at the end of Defiance. It wasn't just me.
I think Mithrax has been teased to become Kel of Kel for years. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, you could say that. Doesn't really complete any sort of redemption arc, though. Plus, he's just been like a big dick.
That she hacked.
Not his fault,
She
but
spoke
holy.
to the whole fire team, meaning that if we had listened to her, we could have saved Amanda on her intel. That isn't how someone who believes that humankind should be extinguished would act. If anything, what it proves is that her hatred for humanity is more aimed towards its political leaders than the people as a whole, made doubly apparent when we captured her. Because as much as she dislikes us, Eramis does hold a degree of respect for us, which she doesn't give to Crow.
You have my word.
I expect the Guardian to enforce that. Now take me to Idaho. Insufferable fool.
Are we even going to talk about plunder?
And now, I am at your mercy. For the sake of discretion, let us part ways here. I will contact you once I reach Idaho's coordinates.
Much as
IMO, Mithrax becoming Kel of Kel's and Eramis leaving and not being there anymore, we wrap up the phone arc pretty well. As long as we never fucking see Eramis again.
Sometimes roll my eyes at her theatrics. We also have to remember that this whole thing with the House of Light is extremely recent in the timeline of the Elixni-human conflict, and that Eramis has been through all of it.
I'd like to point out that I really enjoy that he's using Tikus, and I don't use it as much as I would, but it's one of the only bows in the game I enjoy, so kind of based Tikus enjoyer.
She was with
Yo, Classic, what's up?
First contact, which was, in the case of her house, less contact and more firebombing. Thank you, Namrask. We've individually won her begrudging respect because we've proven to her through combat that we will fight to defend Elixni lives, and will, at the very least, give her people clean, honorable deaths, but the rest of the Vanguard has not yet proven such a thing to her. Remember that after the final attempt...
I think the only way we should see Eramis after is to catch her reunited with her wife and having a date. Didn't her wife die?
Many Elixni houses were incapable of recovering enough to mount an equal
I think her wife's like very dead.
That the Vanguard had us deliberately break all of the remaining houses to ensure that it will never happen again. This was necessary to an extent, but it was also cruel. And if you want further confirmation about this, here's one of the documents from the Hidden from Season of the Drifter, detailing what the Elixni were facing.
She sent her wife away, sadly dead. Her wife is dead, her wife never died.
The humanity that would do anything to ensure that her people were wiped out.
She's alive along with her kids, and then why didn't she just get the fucking stasis powers and piece the fuck out? So mind you, what happens when the whole Scorn Eramis friends, that was Shivu doing it, reading up, it was her Wrathborn corrupted her salvations. I still think it would have been so fucking sick if we go into the second encounter of Salvation's Edge, and it's a goddamn Scorn Eramis, and the Traveler... or the Witness like fucking killed her and resurrected her. That would have been so sick, bro.
And this was them only a few years.
Or Shivu or whoever. I don't even know if if it was Shivu doing it. Does the Witness have this? I don't know.
Subject.
Who cares? I don't care how it happens. I just think it would have been cool.
1. Fallen armed forces continue to fall back from active fronts across Terra. Factions of House Dusk remain active in the European Dead Zone. Throughout the rest of the globe, refugee attack incidents have dropped by more than 70% since the conclusion of the Red War, largely attributable to depressed fallen and human populations rather than any significant change in interspecies relations. 2. In absence of any united leadership, House Dusk continues to splinter and radicalize. The recent trending emergence of so-called crime syndicates, CF Report 004 Fallen Civ, is emblematic of the continuing destructuralization of fallen society. Likely an artifact of multi-generational colonization of human strongholds, this agent believes that because of these syndicates have no relation to indigenous fallen culture, young fallen are appropriating and intimidating human mythology in absence of a strong cultural heritage of their own. Much like the dissolution of the Kel Archon theology, this is positive news for those interested in the complete extirpation of invasive fallen from the system. 3. That being said, we should continue to monitor reunification efforts. Several personalities have emerged as potential leaders. First, the would-be integrationists.
This just has me thinking, sorry. It's going to be really interesting to see what ends up being like the enemies that we fight and why. Because I feel like most of them are pretty wrapped up. Like, hopefully after next season, Shivu's dead. And so it's like, we don't really have that much reason to keep fighting the Fallen or the Hive. After this season, it feels like most of the Fallen and Scorn conflicts are going to be wrapped up. Most of the Cabal conflicts are wrapped up. So that just kind of leaves Vex and Dread. I mean, like, I know they'll keep finding reasons for it, but like this saga was pretty definitively like very heavily Fallen and Hive. You know, like all four were and Cabal. Like all of them were in it, but like they were, I feel like, the heaviest ones throughout. Anecdotally, like I haven't gone through and tallied like the amount of time we fighting all of them, but to me, like this feels like an especially Hive heavy saga, and then like a lot of Fallen and Cabal, especially like early on. So I am really interested to see like how they motivate after we wrap up all the Saga 1 stuff. How do they motivate these enemies in the future so they can keep having us fight them?
VIP number 1121, well known to Guardians of the Inner Systems as Varix, or Varix the Loyal, directly responsible for the release of the murderer Eldrin Solve from the Prison of Elders. 1121 subsequently fled Awoken holdings in the Reef and now styles himself as the Kell of Kells, still representing House Judgment. The Praxic Order has petitioned the Vanguard for permission to detain 1121. The Awoken Monarchy, acting through the Queen's Wrath, has claimed jurisdiction over 1121, and has further stated that any prosecution in absence of their involvement will be considered an act of war. The Vanguard has not yet made a statement about their position on the issue.
I forgot that Varix wanted to be Kell of Kells too before Skolas.
The Awoken is a lesser-known personality
How about,
known as
instead of a Kell of Kells, we just make an oligarchy? Varix is still alive. Mithrax is still alive. Skolas is back. Fuck, throw Fikrul in there too. And we just have Kells of Kells. And then look, we're fine.
Mithrax.
Then we don't have to kill anyone.
Scattered field reports
Except for
suggest
Eramis,
that
she still
Light
dies.
1121, 3987 styles himself a Kell of the so-called House Light, an otherwise unknown house apparently founded by 3987 himself.
I like how they throw some major shade. They're like, yeah, he's just being a fucking weirdo. There's like 4 people that follow him.
Mithrax has engaged in allied operations with Guardians in the field, though we have not yet been able to corroborate these accounts with any degree of veracity.
That's
His agent
awesome.
is
Poor
inclined to
Mithrax.
treat these reports with a healthy degree of skepticism until otherwise confirmed, as they may be propaganda from fallen sympathizers in the old Russian and Red War Guardian cohorts. We have requested intelligence records from the Awoken, which may further clarify the matter. In addition, whatever the findings of said intelligence reports may be, it should be stressed that 1 or 2 sympathetic outliers cannot be relied upon to erase the wrongs of past centuries, nor should their good faith efforts to correct the sins of their forebearers be taken as sufficient symbolic reparation. Second, the would-be separationists. VIP number 4503, a recent personality known as Fikrul, or the Fanatic. A close confederate of the murderer Uldren Sov, 4503 has the apparent ability to raise himself from the dead in a manner not dissimilar to ghost-aided resurrection. Though his reign on the Tangled Shore was limited,
do we know how they get VIP numbers in the lore? Do they have any correlation to any Easter eggs or anything?
4503's propensity for resurrection, the inherent risk of 4503 reclaiming the body of the murderer Uldren Sov from his final resting place in the Dreaming City goes without saying. The Vanguard continues to deploy fire teams to suppress 4503.
VIP 2014 is us. That's
Our
pretty cool.
agents have reached out to the Cryptarchy and the Genzim scribes to request guidance as to his permanent destruction. VIP number 2029, a once known personality known as Eramis, or Eramis the Ship Stealer.
Do you think we like actually kill Fikrul in the exotic mission?
Baroness incarcerated.
Surely Fikrul has to like die,
number
right? Like die.
Successfully fled the prison of elders.
No way, like Fickrel is another like artifact of this saga. Like I feel like the saga won't feel complete unless that is wrapped up. I also kind of feel like that about the Dreaming City, but at this point I think the Dreaming City's just fucked. Like I don't think that's ever getting fixed. I think it is just permanently fucked. Sorry, all the Queensguard. Nice knowing ya. Enjoy those same 3 days for the rest of your goddamn life. 3 weeks. That feels like something that should have also been wrapped up, but
escape orchestrated by 1121.
You don't think he's going to be dead? I kind of
2029 is a classical fallen pirate of the old ways.
I don't know, man.
Vicious,
I feel like they got him.
Uncompromising, and possessing cunning of the highest degree. Field reports indicate that she is.
Or he becomes the Kellicels.
House devils from the ground up.
It's one or
This
the other.
agent
There's no in
believes her to be
between.
The most viable candidate for universal fallen reunification, and it would urge the Vanguard and other interested leadership to aggressively.
Oh, gotcha,
prioritize
Ark.
her
Thank you.
destruction. We have come too far to pull our punches now. Message ends.
Didn't Savathun say the curse was unliftable? Like, the thing you have to know about fantasy stories like this, it's everything is impossible until it's not. Okay? If Bungie has a narrative reason they want to lift that curse, that shit is getting lifted. It doesn't matter.
This is the Vanguard that Eramis is used to facing. People calling for the complete destruction of her own kind. Let's also not forget that Eramis was present during Saints' Crusades. You know, the needless slaughter of many Elixni after watching starving Dres eat the corpses of children. Which was also when Saint did his legendary Devil Kell headbutting thing. Eramis was probably present.
Did I hear that right?
Let's also not forget that Eramis was present during Saints' Crusades. You know, the needless slaughter of many Elixni after watching starving Dres eat the corpses of children.
I don't think I was aware of that tidbit. I think Saint's reaction's a little bit more understandable if they were eating dead children. That's a little fucked up, bro. I get having a pretty visceral reaction to that. You know? Not trying to justify it, I just understand. I don't think I knew that.
His legendary Devil Kell headbutting thing. Eramis was probably present for that. She was also thrown into the prison of elders for several decades, which was partially an awoken settlement, and she had to try to recuperate the devils afterwards. She's never seen anything of humanity that indicates we're capable of kindness. Hell, she
Saint said, I saw Dregs eat children when we first met him? No way.
Believe that the Guardians were capable of really working with the Elixni
That's fucked.
as equals until Plunder, when the young wolf was more than happy to stand by as Mizrax's pirate guard. It's really no wonder that she was so against the idea of the House of Light beforehand, because there's no reason why she wouldn't think that it was a trick. Because frankly, the more you think about it, the more it becomes mind-boggling that House Light worked with the humans at all. And that requires the Elixni within it to be entirely at the mercy of the Vanguard. Sure, we don't want to harm them, but Eramis doesn't know that. She's only ever seen the Lightbearers' forces ravaging her people, and she's seen that for several centuries at that.
Yeah, but like once again,
she's not fully in the wrong here.
House of Light is not the only settlement of Elixni that are coexisting. I think that is so important to note.
Mizrax was an idiot, and it's really not only now that she's had a forceful change in perspective from the witness that she realized.
Like I think Spider is the best example
for the Elixni. Yes, she did incite our wrath upon her house. Yes, she's aware of it, and yes, she does regret it. But the fact of the matter is that she's still very much willing to work with us if her hand is forced, which indicates that no, she doesn't hate humanity nearly as much as she'd like you to believe. What we really need to do is show her that House Light is not just surviving among humankind, but thriving, which is something that I hope they cover in Act 3 of Revenant, now that she's been released from her cell. Now that she's no longer staring at a
Also,
cell
Spider's
block
best
and
example. He has so much
capable of
power.
seeing
Dude,
that
we can
humans are
nuke
much
him if
more
we want to.
adaptive
Like, it
than
wouldn't
her
even be a fight.
experiences have led her to believe, and that the age where her people and ours were fighting over scraps has passed. She needs to see this with her own eyes. But how her redemption arc is being handled is a whole other video that I need to make, so I won't go into that here. For now, I will leave you with a lore tab from the Catch Killer's plate, so that we may ruminate together on Drifter's perspective. The perspective of another survivor who has seen the fallout at the end of the world. The old cruise, ain't much that I can tell you that you couldn't get from Reddit.
Okay, so I think this was a very well done video. Great video. I still don't like Eramis. But I appreciate the differing opinion. Keep up the great work. Bam. Cool. This guy was cool. I like this video. There you go. Please go show him some love. Scaro, give it up. Destiny's out of 10. Dog, like, what are we doing? Why are you here then? Destiny, I can promise you, okay, Destiny is not out of 10. Okay, I can assure you that. It is not out of 10. But if you truly believe that Destiny is out of 10, then why are you wasting your time? Just go away, you know? Like, I don't know, man. I'm sorry you guys fell out of love with the game, but like, just leave me alone about it. I'm also looking forward to Frontiers. I think it is going to be great. A lot of the systems they have talked about, I think, are going to be very good. I think the story is shaping up to be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see more. So where I'll leave this for now, this Eramis stream, is, look, that video was very good. I appreciate the points, the thoughtful dissection. I will say a couple of things. My final takeaways: I still don't like Eramis. I still think she deserves to be dead. Just because she doesn't outright hate humanity does not inherently excuse her of her blatant disregard for human casualties during her numerous endeavors. Now that we've learned that she tried to take a fucking outbreak as well. She's had plenty of opportunities to just like leave us alone. She's horrible at her job, whatever her job is. She's failed at all of them. She's bad. She's very bad at her jobs. We should not trust her with anything, ever. If she gets the Echo, I'm going to be very angry. I don't think she deserves it. I don't think the way that her character has been written justifies it. And I still hate her. But it was interesting to get a new perspective, and I think that's always really good. And I do think, like, I think there's too many plot holes with the whole. I don't believe, like, as Bungie has shown it with the cutscenes, when she was leaving Reese, you could see the pyramid ships. So she has to have known that that pyramid ship was part of the whirlwind. But she's very clearly, like, reaching towards it, which gives me so, like, kind of not worshiping vibes, but sort of. And so it's like, so yes, maybe the witness itself didn't contact her until after, but there's so many things, like, I don't know. So there's a cutscene for Season of the Hunt that showed a pyramid ship in the Dreaming City, which is funny. Wait, what? There is? The Season of Hunt trailer? Oh, I totally agree, Joe. I just think she should have died there.
The only ones to whom the darkness speaks.
Why is this quality so bad? What the?
The traveler closes like a fist. It will strike against the darkness.
Wait, okay. Hunt. This is with Beyond Light, right? Yeah, it is, okay.
Cyrus has been trying to assess the damage caused by the return of the darkness. He believes that Xivu Arath, the hive god of war, seeks to take advantage of the power vacuum left in its wake.
It's very nice to hear Lance Reddick's voice. Not that I think Keith David's doing a good job, but it's very comforting, you know?
Close our ranks, Guardian. I need you on the front lines.
Welcome, my most productive guardian. I propose a partnership.
God, they have this show. This season was so fucking mid. Their marketing department is so good.
Break Zivura's hold.
Stalk your prey. It's walk around the corner, kill. 15 seconds max.
Over my shore, and you can claim.
This activity would not have been bad if it wasn't the only activity, you know? Like, I talk about it with Destiny Rising. Like, small activities like this are enticing and nice if they're not the only thing to do.
Any prize in my lair as your reward. You'll have earned it.
Hot take Catch Crash is good. I don't mind Catch Crash. I think especially how bad the other one was made it seem way better. What the fuck was the other one called? Oh my god. I blocked it from my memory. Catch Crash was not Hunt, no.
I know how accomplished you are, and
Salvage?
revenge.
Expedition, yeah, that shit sucks. Did like the, not the Hawkmoon mission. I liked Coup de Gras. I thought was a fun mission. Hawkmoon mission also not good.
Did you hear that? My soul.
That was a sick moment.
They call me the Crow.
Where did they show? Where did they show the, I didn't see a pyramid ship in the Dreaming City. Not the trailer. Oh, like the opening cinematic? Hunt season intro cut scene.
Darkness, our ancient enemy. Foretold by many they came, as the war mind warned us they would. They were
Lab, are you still here? That's a clip, brother. That's a clip.
Foretold by many they came,
They came.
as the war mind.
The witness is coming. They came.
They were confronted with fire. And when that failed, met with intrigue among the bones of Io's last monument to the light. It promised us power.
Man, like looking back, I really didn't like many of these seasons narratively. Like, I just feel like what the fuck even was Arrivals? I didn't like none of that really even. I don't know, man. Like, it was a good season, but narratively, like, it just, like, at the end of the day, I don't feel like we did anything.
And for it, a price was paid. A lull holds the system, though it is not emptiness that gives us pause. Yet not all is lost. Stand, Guardian. Brandish your light and join the hunt.
Wait, where?
Foretold.
That's Io. That's not the Dreaming City.
Foretold by many they came.
This? Like here?
Yet not all is lost. Stand, Guardian. Brandish your light and join the hunt.
This is the Tangled Shore.
Brandish your light and brandish your light. Yet not all is lost.
It's not a pyramid shape, it's a splinter.
Stand, Guardian.
Oh. Oh, that's really interesting. This is by the observatory, right? Huh.
Brandish your
I don't remember any splinters in this season.
and join the hunt.
Very weird. Very weird. Cool. Alrighty, well, that's where I'm going to call it for tonight. That was a good video. I'm happy that we took the time to watch that. It didn't change my mind. It's a nice refresher, because in fucking 3 weeks, probably going to have to know a lot of Eramis lore anyway, so it was good to watch. But I've got a Sabres game to go watch them lose, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, everyone, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. What are we doing? I really don't have much to stream. I'll probably do zombies or something soon. Maybe, I have literally no idea. No idea. I'll figure something out. I'll do trials this weekend for sure. And, I'm running out of things to grind. This is a rough part of the season, my friends. All right, everyone. Have a great night. I love your faces. And I'll see you very soon.